All right, and welcome to another edition of Mike Finds Things. It's supposed to be a collectibles channel / records channel. It's really mostly a records channel, so that's kind of what's going on here. If you haven't subscribed, please do so, because we're sort of a brand new channel, so as many subscribers as we can get early on is great. I'm going to shoot this one where I'm holding up to the camera, everything. I found more stuff since this stuff, so I've got another video for next week, because this Thanksgiving's coming up. It's not going to be a lot of estate sale auction this weekend. So I do have some other stuff to show you from another estate sale, and also a lot of 78s that I bought off of Marketplace that's coming up in the next week's video. Next week's video is going to be heavy on the 78s, if you know what I mean. But I've got two different estate sales worth of stuff to show you today, as well as a thrift store run that I did after the Radwood car show, which I have a video up on my other channel, which is my name, Mike Frankovich, of the Radwood car show. My friend told me, hey, there's a big thrift store down the street we passed on the way here. So right afterwards we went there, and I scored pretty good at that thrift store. So that'll be coming up in this video as well. But the big 78 stuff will be next week, and there's a cool story. And honestly, the two different lots I spent a total of $12 on that's next week's video, though. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. So we're going to start out. I went to an estate sale not far from here. It was down in like San Gabriel, Temple City area. So not very far. I actually went back twice. So I went on I believe it was the second day of the sale, because I couldn't go on the first. And one of the things I got, so this is more of a collectible than a record, a Bob's Big Boy menu from 1950, and it's a local. And I'm a huge Bob's Big Boy fan. I've got some Bob. I've even got my Bob. If you watch my Lemons Rally video on the other one, that's our mascot. Is my Bob Bank, where you can rip the head off that I have had since the 70s. And this one actually shows all the locations at the time. Check that out. And it's got the Toluca Lake one, which is still there and preserved. It was like the second Bob's Big Boy. And they do cruise nights there every Friday. And I used to go with my father all the time. So this is literally something I found. I was like, man, if my dad was alive, he would just love this. So that's definitely a keeper. It's going in my Bob's Big Boy collection. In fact, my sister saw it on Instagram. And she's like, man, when I saw it, I instantly thought of Dad. So same sale, same day. I picked up two 78s. That's all I bought record-wise. But what I did get was the Great Pretender on 78. It didn't have the Mercury sleeve. That actually I had, so I put it in a Mercury sleeve, by the Platters. Now, this one's not a big dollar one. This one's $1.25 to $25 of this label variation. There's two different label variations on 78 of this one, apparently. So you got to be careful when you look this one up. This one's in pretty good shape. Now, people with 78 jukeboxes want early rock and roll 78s, as by then, most people had switched to 45 by then, especially younger people. So it's cool to find something that's sort of rock and roll. The other one I found there, and this one is late 78 production. This one's from 1958. This is Everly Brothers. All I Have to Do Is Dream. And on the B side is Claudette. So it's sort of a double A-sided record. Both great songs, both songs that were hits. And this one, I couldn't find. Discogs is terrible for 78s. I have found that in the past it had sold for as high as $49. So, which doesn't surprise me on an early rock and roll 78, because probably jukebox guys would love to have that record. Obviously, I have jukeboxes. I don't have a 78 one. I do have a stash of these that I kind of stash away just in case I ever do get a 78 jukebox. And we got Henry's Restaurant. I got the menu. I got the postcard of it was like a drive-in restaurant in Alhambra that closed many years ago. And if you look it up, there's actually a current restaurant called Henry's. It's not the same restaurant. And I think it's got their chicken to go. It's like the chicken in the rough and one of the little special cards. So local history, local drive-in history, which is cool. And this one I saw someone trying to sell just the menu online for $125. This I got it was $20, but then I went back. This is on the half off day. I actually went back, so I got this one for $10 in the frame. I don't remember that restaurant. It's not like the Bob's Big Boy. I think the Bob's Big Boy is more valuable, since obviously everyone knows Bob's Big Boy, and the restaurant's still there, and it's still an iconic historic landmark. In fact, it's on the National Register of Historic Places. And I also got this book, Jukebox Saturday Night. I still haven't shown you the jukeboxes on my channel yet. But I got this great book from the 70s called Jukebox Saturday Night, and it's like the history of jukeboxes up until the time it was written. And this one was, I think they wanted 12, but it was on half off day. I got it for 6. They sell for about 20, 25 bucks online. So that's kind of neat. Now the rest of this video is all going to be records. So we got that stuff out of the way. I just wanted to show you I got you at one estate sale. So another day, this was this past weekend. I think it was on Thursday, that's what it was. So I went to the local, one of my favorite local thrift stores, the one where basically I got all those records that were in the last video. And the only thing I found that day was a really minty copy of Rapper's Delight by Sugar Hill Gang, 12-inch single. And I always grab these. I've got like, I don't know how many, I got a few copies of this, and I had never looked it up. These sell, obviously it's from 79. Obviously it samples, considered the first commercial hip hop record released with the sample of Good Times by Chic. These actually go for between $3.37 and $25 on Discogs, which I had no idea. I paid $3 for this one, but it's like a super crisp, minty copy. So definitely a cool pickup. And then after that, I went to an estate sale that was listed, said they had records that was in West Covina, and that wasn't that far. You know, it was a little bit more of a drive, but I was sort of on the way when I was at the thrift store. So I did go. I found some LPs and some 45s. Okay, I got the 45s. I'll go through the LPs first. Most of the cool stuff I got was 45. This one is not worth a lot, but I bought it mainly because the cover was cool. It's on Topps, which there's a lot of stigma about the Topps label since they did a lot of sound-alike stuff. This is Joe Houston and his Rockets. He actually had a couple R&B hits in the early 50s. This record's from 57, only sells for $3 to $5. The actual record's in really good condition, and it's instrumental, like early rock and roll stuff. And I just like the cover, so for $2 it was worth me picking up. It's not a home run, but it's kind of cool. Sometimes you just gotta buy something just because you think it's kind of cool looking. So, which we're going to be getting to some more stuff that I thought was cool looking that turned out to be more of a home run. This one I grabbed. Unfortunately they have writing on it, but you can tell why I bought it, because it has a Seeburg HF 100G, I believe, 100 selection Select-O-Matic jukebox on it. Fortunately, it has writing on it. I grab records that have jukeboxes on the cover. This one sells for between 10 and 24, obviously probably without the writing. So that kills the value of it a lot, but I still wanted it because it had the jukebox. But I'm guessing it sells for that kind of money because of the jukebox on the cover, because it'd be a cool wall hanger. I'll still put it on my wall even though it's got the writing on it. Then I got, this one unfortunately has writing as well. Bobby V meets the Ventures. So kinda surf, I guess. I mean, kind of a weird one on Liberty. Unfortunately, they wrote Gibbs and put an X on there. So it's from 63. It sells from $1 to $8. I would have thought it would have been more because it's a weird one and it's got the Ventures on it. But neat cover anyway. I mean, for $2, why not? Now here's the one that I bought because I thought it was cool, and you'll see why I think it's cool, because I'm into cars. Bailemos Twist con Texaco. So it's got a Texaco gas station on here. This was actually made in Puerto Rico, and look at the back. It's got a Texaco gas station. What's it got? Like one of the sides has, you can see there's like a 55 Chevy in the reflection there. But I mean, I thought, oh, this is cool. Look at the front's got like a 62 Impala and like a 56 Ford and a 55 Chevy and like a Mercury Comet. I thought this was just cool, so I grabbed that. I'm gonna see if I can pull the record out, because the label actually has the Texaco star on it. Check it out, Texaco star on the label. It's in really nice condition. It's basically twist songs. In fact, the first song is like "Let's Twist Again," but in Spanish. So it's twist songs in Spanish. This one is black vinyl, and from what I could tell, they made this in like red vinyl and a red and black marbled vinyl. Unfortunately, I've got the one that's black vinyl, which I couldn't find any copies of that and what it sold for. But I did find this record sells for between $20 and $55. I'm guessing that's with the colored vinyl. So I don't know. I'd say it's at least a $20 record. It's in good shape. Shorter name there, but it's kind of hard to see. In fact, that might rub off if I really tried. But it's really crisp sleeve. It's nice. It's got Texaco on it. I mean, for $2, yeah, you grab it. Let's go to the 45s I got at that the state sale, I should say. Fortunately, I wanted $2 a record, whether it was a 45 or LP. So we're going to go right to the good one. I don't know why I put it on the top. So this one is You Don't Seem to Realize by The Dynamics on Douglas Records. Now, this one, you cannot find it. It is a soul record. I couldn't find much on it. Only thing I could find was that, John Manship, the Northern Soul guy from England, he has a channel, if you ever watch his, knows everything about Northern Soul. He's a dealer. He had a mint copy on his, I found an old post on a message board online, and someone mentioned this record and said that John Manship had a mint copy for 200 British pounds, which doesn't surprise me. There's not much about this record online. It's super clean. I don't know. I know it's expensive because it's soul and it's rare. It's dancey. I don't know if you could call it Northern Soul, but it's dancey. Like, you could get away with like playing that at a Northern Soul club. So that's just a huge find. I mean, I think it's a cool record. I got to research that one and find out more. There's another one here that I think might be expensive, but I couldn't find anything about that one either. It's coming up. This one originally had a picture sleeve, sells for between $1 and $70. I'm guessing a 70 is obviously with the picture sleeve. We got the Beetles with Day Tripper, and on the B side, We Can Work It Out on Capitol. This one's in really good condition. Unfortunately, it is missing the picture sleeve. I'd say it's a good solid $15 or $20 record. People like them Beetles, so yeah, I thought about putting it in my jukebox because it's hard to find reissue Beatles except for the Twist and Shout that they did for the Ferris Bueller movie. But that's definitely a cool find for $2. Yeah, I'm picking that up. This one I took a chance on. I couldn't find anything about it while I was there. Fortunately, for some reason, I didn't have much of a signal, so it was hard for me to look stuff up. So it's Alan Clark and the Liberties, Long Tall Sally on Clark Records. Now, the catalog number starts with WLS. So my first thought was that it was from WLS in Chicago, a radio station, which is still in existence. It's actually a rockabilly record. He's doing, obviously, a cover of Long Tall Sally. This guy, I guess, has been in the rockabilly scene like forever. In fact, he was like playing 50s music in the 60s when it was kind of fading out. This record, as far as I found a page about this guy on it's like the Rockabilly Hall of Fame website. This one was recorded in '64. Apparently this guy did an album, and the album sells for like $200. I couldn't find anybody else that had this single. I did find that they made this single in '64, and I guess this guy, he just never made it big, but he played with a lot of the greats of early rock and roll and rockabilly. Put out his own record, Clark Records, did several singles. I don't know how to even value this thing. It's got to be, I would guess it's over $100. But who knows? I mean, like I said, the guy was pretty well known in the rockabilly world, I guess, for many years. So somebody knows him, and he actually did stuff locally. He did a lot of his shows were in the San Gabriel Valley here. In fact, one of the places I saw that he used to play at, I guess, was right by where I live here in Pasadena. This one sells between 10 and 32, this next one. This was a great one. This is a 1964 record on Wand. Gina Washington, Baby Be Mine. And it's sort of like a party soul record, so it really gets the party started. I think it was a great record. It seems like it should have been a hit or something. I believe this one was a return. Yeah, this one, look where they put the return on the dead wax, which is kind of weird. They drilled the hole in the dead wax. But in really nice condition. Plays really well. Sells for between 10 and 32, and I'm probably going to hold on to that one because it's a cool, obscure soul record, which I like. Not Northern Soul. But we are going into some Northern Soul for the in fact, somebody was asking if I ever find Northern Soul. Well, here we go. We found one. This one sells between $3 and $40. This one is Nora Dodds. I'll turn it this way. Come See About Me. Now you're like, well, Mike, that's a Supreme song. Yes, it is. It's not. This obviously is not the Supremes. Now I looked this one up. The story on this song is the Supremes did the original version. They put it on their album. It wasn't released as a single. And anybody who knows Motown knows a lot of times they didn't release some of their best songs as singles. Like they would shelve them or they would just use them on albums or B-sides. Now, I guess she recorded this Nora Dodds recorded this one in 1964, released it as a single, and I guess it was doing pretty good, especially on like R&B stations. And Berry Gordy found out he didn't like that, so he actually turned around and released the Supremes version on a single, which of course took over. Now this version, it's a more raw version. It's not as polished as the Supremes, and it's got more of like a beat to it, like a Northern Soul beat, which is probably why the Northern Soul people really like this one. But like I said, value-wise, it's said, on Discogs it sold between $3 and $40. This one's pretty clean. It does have a lot of Northern Soul stuff has that return punch in it, because a lot of the rare stuff was just not sold in big numbers and maybe didn't do that well. But this one kind of got cut short just because Berry Gordy got angry and decided to release the Supremes version as its own single. I guess from what I understand, it was because of that version. So that's kind of an interesting history. I didn't know about it. I saw that. I saw Come See About Me. I go, okay, it's another version. I'll take a chance on it. I couldn't even look it up. Like I said, my phone wasn't working. And I knew it had to be another version of the Supreme song. This one has sold for $32 in 2009. That's only I can find about this one. It's a surf instrumental. I couldn't even find the year of this record. Hollywood International Records. This is Cascade by Walt Lawrence. And like I said, in 2009, it sold for $32. Probably not a well-known record. Not much else online about it. But it is a surf song, and it is an instrumental. And it's pretty cool, because I always like finding stuff that there's really nothing about online. And you would think anything surf, there's going to be some information about it online. This one there is not. So all I could find is it was on some obscure website that it sold for $32 in 2009. So who knows? This one's a lot of fun. I knew immediately by the band name. I go, this has got to be their Garage or a Surf or something like that. I looked this one. This was a local band, Boss by the Rumblers, on Downey Records. So obviously a local one, probably a local label out of Downey, California, from 1962. This is a killer surf instrumental with a lot of sax in it. So if you like your saxophone and your surf records, this one's a killer one. In fact, I'm on I don't know if you ever watched the Max Stevens, his I Buy Old Records videos. I've been watching those. I like them. So I recommend his channel as well. But he has a couple Facebook groups, and one of them's like a Cheap 45 group. And there was a guy selling one of these like the day after I found this one. I'm like, hey, man, I just found one of those. That is a great record. I hope you sell it. So there was one for sale on there. I'm not sure if it's still for sale. I think he was asking $20 for his. But I'm keeping this one because I have that whole collection of surf stuff, and that's a pretty sweet surf record in my book. Now, speaking of surf records, this one's a bit of a heartbreaker because it sells for between $20 and $75 if it's in good condition. Now, this one is Surfin' by the Beach Boys, now from 1962. This was like their first single. There's a few different variations of it. This is, I think, the last variation of it, because the last variation says Era Records distribution on there. This lady, some of the records, she'd written her name in nail polish. I think it's nail polish that like rubbed off. These records weren't in sleeves when I got them, but a lot of them are still in good condition. I think it's some sort of like nail polish. I got to see if I can get this off. I don't know if I should like just soak it in like Dawn and some water and see if maybe it's like grease. It does affect the playability. I'm really hoping it'll clean, because other than that, it's a really good condition. Other than this, I don't know if it shows up. You can see it almost has like a weird design in it. Yeah, there you go. Now you can see it. Uh, it sucks because this is first Beach Boys single. I'm gonna try to get this one. I'm gonna see what I can do. I've tried wiping. I've tried a few things. Obviously, I don't want to get crazy. I don't want to just put nail polish remover on a record. I don't know if you know how to get stuff off of records like that. Hey, let me know. But I have a feeling it's nail polish because it looked like nail polish she wrote on some of the records. This one she wrote on too, but at least it was in pen. This one sells for between 4 and 10 on Stacks. Rufus Thomas. Someone stole my dog, and it's in really nice condition other than the writing on the label. I love Stacks. I love all that old soul records. I said that one's, like I said, 4 to 10, so not a super rare record. Not Northern Soul, but I like that stuff. Here's one of my favorite doo-woppers. I've actually got a reissue of this that I bought in a lot last year. This one sells between 2 and 15. This is the very first pressing of Buick 59 by the Medallions. Great doo-wop classic. On the B side, they've got a catalog sticker, one of those licking sticks. I got to see if I can get that off. It just say Joan on it, so they wrote their name on it. It's in good shape. It plays fine. I don't see that. But great local doo-wop record here in LA. I never understood if it was about a 59 Buick because it was recorded in 1954. So I don't know if they were just getting ahead of themselves. But like what's weird is like the 59 Buick was like the best designed Buick of all time. So I don't know, 5 years earlier they just had a feeling that was going to be like the Buick everyone loves was the 59. It just has the biggest fins and the grill that looks like it's pissed off. But I don't know. But it's cool because it's I like that old doo-wop stuff, and it's this one they used to play on KRLA back in the day when I was younger. I listened to KRLA back in the 80s and 90s. Here's one that sells between $250 and $34. I don't know. It's like a $10 or $15. It's got some damage, unfortunately. It's like that, like a printing error or something. Ronettes, Baby I Love You. You know this song. I don't have to tell you what it is. From 1963. Produced by Phil Spector. All that good stuff. And then, of course, he wound up marrying Ronnie from the Ronettes. I'm a Ronettes fan. Anytime I find a clean Ronettes record, I gotta grab it. So I had to get it, but it actually is obviously worth more than I paid for it. So I'm happy. Here's another soul record / blues. This one sells between 5 and 27 on Discogs. Shirley Records. You Hit Me Where It Hurts by Ray AG. I said this stack. These were all $2 a piece, and it's in really nice condition. A lot of these I had to clean. A lot of these were a little bit dirty, but I probably need to hit them again. But I always like to find rare blues, rare soul on 45, and that is no exception. Not Northern Soul, but cool nonetheless. I know we probably have some, by now I probably have some people who are into Northern Soul watching this channel because I know one guy already commented. This one sells between 5 and 17. Fortunately, they wrote their name on both sides of the record. This one is the Hollywood Flames with Just For You and I'll Be Seeing You on the other side. And Just For You is the A side. It's obviously a doo-wop, early rock and roll on Ebb. So what I say was 2 to 17. I like this stuff. I wish it didn't have the writing on the label, but unfortunately a lot of these kids they were kids then, wrote their names. They would go to parties. They didn't know which records were theirs, because they didn't want to lose their records. I get that. Fortunately, I find a lot of the rare stuff that people didn't know. They escaped that a lot of times, even in the same collections, because they didn't take those to parties because nobody knew what it was. This is example one where she wrote on there. I grabbed this one. It's a common record, especially locally. Daddy's Home, Shep and the Limelights, doo-wop classic on Hull Records. I think that was Dave Hull of KRLA. He was a DJ here in LA. That was his label. It's in good condition. People like these. The lowrider oldies guys like these. I think whatever this was is kind of like what rubbed off on that Beach Boys record early on. So that was that stash. We're going to move on to the next stash. Those were 2 each, those LPs and those. Now, I went to Radwood the other day, which is an 80s, 90s car show, if you guys don't know. I do have a full walk-around video on my other channel. I'm going to have to turn around to grab these so I don't drop them. And I said, my buddy's like, hey, you know, there was a thrift store down the street, looked pretty, you know, like a big thrift store. I said, he says, you want to, you know, it's just a couple miles. You want to go after the show? I said, okay. So we went down there. Man, I did all right. So I went in there and I bought a bag of 70. They had 3 bags of 78s, not 78, sorry. I bought 178 with like 3 LPs, and then I got like 10 45s or something like that. They had those bags like they do at the one near my house where they expect you just to buy a bag of records. Like, oh, just buy a bag of records, you know, for $10 or whatever. So I'm like, I have to see what I'm buying. I'm sorry. So I looked through, there were 3 bags, and so I did like a little switcheroo and made my own bag of 10, if you know what I mean, is what I did. But I think I did pretty good. I left some of the more common ones out because there was a couple of them where I had to fill the bag. So, but I'll show you some of the cooler ones. I grabbed this one. I thought that all these Paul McCartney and Wings ones had picture sleeves. This one didn't originally come with a picture sleeve, so I was kind of happy to find that out. This one is Band on the Run with the 1985 on the other side. Paul McCartney and Wings. This sells for between 1 and 10. Obviously a common record, but it's Beatles related, so cool to grab that one. There were some Chai Lights in there, and this one is Have You Seen Her? I didn't think I had a copy of this, and so I grabbed it. I put that in there. So I like the Chai Lights. This one does sell for between $1 and $5.50, so it was obviously a big hit by the Chai Lights. So I grabbed that. I think there's like 3 Chai Lights in here. Oh Girl, and I just grabbed the sticker. This one sells between 1 and 7. Oh Girl by the Chai Lights on Brunswick. And then this one is $1.50 to $8. And all these were in pretty good condition. Not in the sleeves though. This one's a little more obscure. I Want to Pay You Back for Loving Me, the Chai Lights. That one sells between 1 and 8. And that's cool for my collection of 70s soul stuff. This one is this one's a promo copy. I couldn't find a value on the promo copy on this. It sells for 8 to 20 on the non-promo copy. This is Thunder Flash, Not a Day Too Soon. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is the one that was. I looked it up. I think they were. It's like a soul funk record, but it's pretty slow. One of these the guys were discovered by Stevie Wonder, and Stevie Wonder plays harmonica on the record. I think it was this one. I should have wrote it down. This was from '82. But a promo copy. And like I said, the non-promo sells for 8 to 20. I don't know what the promo sells for. It's in pretty good shape. People like that rare soul and funk, obviously. Speaking of rare soul and funk, here we go. This was funny because my buddy was standing there. My phone wasn't working for some reason at the thrift store to look stuff up. I knew this was a minor label, and he's like looking at me. He doesn't know records like I do. And I'm like, and I just look at him like, this looks like it's worth money. Can you look it up? He looks it up and he about had a heart attack. This one sells like I think on Discogs it was like it sells for up to, it has sold for as high as 400 on Discogs. So he about had a heart attack. He looks at me like, are you kidding me? It's on Simcoe Records, Vessi, We Are the Best of Friends. And you can look this one up. It's a pricey one. And that was in the thrift store. So I'm kind of happy I found that. And I'll probably be selling it because it's not something I'm super into. And there you go. I don't know what I'm going to get. I think there's a couple for sale for around $200 online. But it's in pretty good condition. Don't know what else to tell you about that one other than like it was kind of cool to find it. It was kind of cool. I just went to my buddy, hey, why don't you go look this one up? And he looks at me like, wow, that's worth some money. This is one I thought was going to be worth money. When I found it, it sells for between $1 and $17. So it's all right, but it does have a slight edge warp. I think I'm going to have to invest in one of those things that takes the warp out of the edge of the records, especially for stuff like this. And this one, you'll see why I thought this thing was going to be like worth some serious cash when I saw it. Go Head On by the Packers. And not much about this. Look at that. Pure Soul Music is the label. Go Head On by the Packers. It's got all your minor label, stuff going on there. It's it's a soul record because it is. And I'm just like thinking, oh, but it's got like an organ on it, but it's got like sort of like a northern beat. It's an instrumental. It's actually pretty dancey, so I'm guessing that's why it sells for so much. Like I said, I don't know if the warp will come through on the video. It's like so slight. It's it's just very slight, but it is slightly warped. But I don't think it's anything that can't be flattened out. But kind of cool to find another rare soul record right there. Now this was in there too, and I didn't even bother to look it up, and I knew it was like a DooWop record. It's actually a reissue, but I threw that in there because why not? And it's in okay condition. One side is You Cheated by the Shields, and then the other side is Mr. 21 by the Orlons. I think their biggest hit was like Don't Hang Up, if I remember right. And I don't know, I'd throw that in the jukebox. I couldn't find any value on this reissue, so I'm guessing it's probably like a $3 record. But still, I mean, I'd throw that in the jukebox. Why not? It's an old reissue from the 60s, but it's still a reissue. And then this one was actually priced individually with this sleeve that's fallen apart. Jailhouse Rap by the Fat Boys. And it was in the sleeve that's definitely seen better days. I like to grab anything that's like hip-hop on 45 because it's kind of hard to find. And I think this one only sells for like $4 or $5, but still cool to find Fat Boys. And it's got Stick'em on the other side, if you remember Stick'em. And then at the same thrift store, they had 178, and that was it, 178. But not a valuable one. Sells for between 4 and 10 on Discogs, according to when I looked it up. And you'll see why I bought it. It's because I'm a car guy. Because it's Les Brown in my Merry Oldsmobile. And my buddy Nick, who's with me, actually has Oldsmobiles. And he's like, are you going to buy that? I'm like, yeah. Now I'm like, man, I should just let him get it. So I think I'm just going to give it to him as a gift because he's done a lot for me. And, I told him if he wanted it, he could have it. But in my Merry Oldsmobile on a Columbia Red Level 78. Now we're going to go to the 3 LPs I bought at the thrift store. Nothing setting the world on fire there, but let's just go through them, and then that'll be the end of the video after we go through those. So we got, from 1976, it's an America album that sells for $1 to $9. And their LPs were $2 a piece. This one was, what was the name of this album again? Hideaway. America Hideaway. But it looks super clean, although it's got a return notch. Not one of their big albums. Obviously, an America collector would like to have it. Usually you find like the America's Greatest Hits or something. This is actually kind of interesting. It's produced by George Martin, according to that. There you go. But, probably another Beatles thing for you guys. But America. So not an expensive record, but the condition, yeah, I'm grabbing it. This one I knew going into it that it wasn't worth anything, and this one's only worth $4 to $5, but for $2, I like Brook Benton. Say what you will. I like Brook Benton. I think he's great. Obviously, Brook Benton records are really common, but it's because I like Brook Benton. It's Just a Matter of Time, Endlessly, Kiddy-O, stuff like that on it. This isn't the first pressing of his golden hits. The first pressing has more like a generic looking cover, and I think they realized like, hey, let's do another cover where we have a picture of him on it. So this is definitely the better looking cover. Not a home run. Obviously, I paid less than it was worth, so I'm happy. And the record's actually in really nice condition, even though the sleeve is got a little bit of separation issues going on there. And then our last record today. You'll see why I grabbed this one. This one sells for between $1 and $24, so it's kind of a big swing there. The record's in really nice condition. Usually when I buy an LP like this, like the record better be super nice, because otherwise I really don't want it. Bobby Rydell, Wildwood Days, LP on Cameo. It's Bobby Rydell. What do you want? But like it's not separating. Like the sleeve's good, the record's nice. $2. It sells for $1 to $24. I don't know what I mean. I got to take this tape off, but it's probably Rydell. So there you go. I grabbed that for obvious reasons for $2. So there you go. That's what I got. So next week I got a bunch of 78s. I bought, like I said, I bought some right by here. I bought some this morning I went way the hell up to Simi Valley, but I had to go about halfway to go buy that car this morning anyway, so it wasn't that bad of a trip for me. So the car, the 74 AMC Matador, which you're hearing about first on this channel versus my other car channel, will be on that channel when I try to get it running. I think it'll run. It's only got like 76,000 miles. I can't tell how many years it's been sitting, but that'll be on that channel. If I find anything else this week, it'll probably be in next week's video as well. I hope everyone has a happy Thanksgiving. It's coming up in a couple days. This video is probably going to post on Thanksgiving since I've been doing Thursdays anyway. And then all that other stuff, which I'm still going through the other stuff that's going to be in next week's video. But please subscribe because this is a brand new channel. And it's really hard to get brand new channels going on YouTube, because this is like the second one I've really tried getting going. The other one's doing okay because I've been doing it for a few years, but please do subscribe, tell me about your records, tell me what you think of these records, and until next time, I'll be seeing you.